Hey guys, this is Jackie from Jack Gets Lost in a Book Hole. So, since February is coming up, since it is February, and February is the month of Valentine's Day, I thought I would do a series of videos this month where I talk about my favorite ships in books and movies. So, as you can see, the first one I like to talk about is Sound and Music, which started out originally as a stage musical, but then they made a movie back in the, I think that was made in the 60s. So, in case you don't know what that is about, which I find hard to believe, but maybe you don't, this is about a woman, Maria, who is a nun in training. She's a postulant, I think that's the term. And she is a very free-spirited young woman and just struggles with the rules and restrictions of being a nun. So Mother Abbess sees that Maria needs to go out into the world and see if this is the kind of life she can live. So she sends her to be a governess to a widower who has 7 children. And when she gets there, and she is determined to win these kids over, and that nothing is going to scare her away, and that she can do this. Unfortunately, when she gets there, first of all, she makes a really horrible impression on the captain. And second of all, the kids, wanting attention from their father and tired of their father constantly hiring governesses to watch them instead of him doing it himself, they pull all these mischievous pranks on her and try to scare her off. But she is stubborn, and it does not work. And she even teaches the kids, while their father is away visiting his girlfriend, she teaches them how to sing, and despite the captain being wanting her to discipline his kids and everything, and to make sure they don't dream away their summer holidays, she starts, taking them out to play. She makes play clothes for them. She takes them to explore Salzburg. And hi, Sophie. Sorry about that. My dog has decided. Sorry about that. My dog has decided to come into my room and visit. You can't see her, unfortunately, because she's all the way over there. But, anyway, so she teaches them to sing, and then at first the captain is all like, you don't follow my rules and everything and restrictions, and then she starts telling him off for not being a good father, not knowing how to give, that he can't just discipline his kids, and she gets fired. But then after this moment of him realizing that she is right, that she has a point, he barely knows his children, he rehires her, and she wins them over. Unfortunately, though, much to his girlfriend, the captain's girlfriend's dismay, once they get past their differences, the captain and Maria start to fall in love. And, so there's also, in this movie, a subplot of this is the last golden days of the golden years of Austria, right before the Nazis take over Austria. So if you know your history, you know that the Nazi Party first targeted Austria and Poland and took over those countries. So there's that whole subplot, and the captain does not support that cause. He doesn't believe in the Nazi regime. He hates it and wants it to stop and everything. Unfortunately, by the second half of the movie, they've taken over. The Nazis have won and taken over Austria. Okay, so the captain and Maria, I love this couple. Like I said, they kind of represent one of my favorite types of couples in fiction. The kind where they don't like each other at first, but slowly over time they fall in love. The thing about them is it's just like those other relationships, it is a ping pong match between them. It's constantly back and forth, and it slowly escalates until it explodes by the end of the first act, or the first. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to remember the theater terms. The first scene, the first few scenes, it's slowly, the tension between them slowly escalates. And it's just first, first of all, she is constantly sassing the man. Like, when he's showing her how he wants her to use this whistle to call his kids, and that he will call her through the whistle. She's like, I'm not using a whistle. I'm not an animal, and neither are kids. You know, and then, like, she also, when he's like, he gives her instructions and stuff on how she needs to take care of things and run the household while he's not around, how to take care of the kids. She's like, she responds with, yes, sir, which is so hilarious. I love her sassiness towards him. And it's just this whole back and forth between the two of them that is so cute and so funny. But then it's not, I still love the scene, but it's not as funny, like, when it finally escalates and finally explodes. Well, first let me share one of my favorite scenes is the dinner scene. Like, first of all, it starts out with her almost sitting on a pine cone, because like I said, the kids are constantly playing these little pranks to scare away the governesses that their father hires. And it's so funny because he's like, really, he's amused by that, and, you know, and then, but she tries to play it off as, oh, it's nothing. And then while they're eating, she won't stop talking. She just keeps talking. I mean, these people are probably used to quiet meals where they just sit there and eat their food and no one talks, you know. But then, like, Maria shows up, and first of all, she, you know, is all like, shouldn't we pray and everything? And they reluctantly agree to pray. And then, because it's probably kind of hard to say no. And then, like, she just keeps talking. Every time they try to eat, she just keeps talking. Like, she essentially guilt trips the kids. Because, like, there was the pine cone incident, they put a frog in her pocket when she first got there, and she even is all like, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for the precious gift you left in my pocket. And, you know, the captain asked her about it, and she's like, oh, it's meant to be secret between the children and me. And he says, alright, fine, well, I suggest you keep it and let us eat. But then, she proceeds to continue talking, and she's like, you know, knowing how nervous I must have been as a stranger in this new household, you know, you made me feel so welcome, and you were so kind to me, and basically she guilt trips those kids. It's making them feel bad, and the little ones start crying, and the older ones are like looking at each other like, oh, great. And the captain is just he can't even fathom this, and he's like, is this gonna be a routine, or is this just a dinner routine or something? And she's like, you know, and she's like, oh, they're alright, Captain, they're just happy, because, you know, he sees that the kids are all emotional about this and everything. And then, like, at one point he catches them, and then later that night, there's a thunderstorm going on, and the kids are all in Maria's room, including the oldest, who snuck in there after and having a rendezvous with her boyfriend around the ground somewhere else. And he comes in there because the dang on boys forgot to close the damn door. It's like, seriously, your dad might not have caught you guys in there if you had closed the dang door. And, you know, she tries to make them feel better because they're all scared about the thunderstorm and the noises and stuff, and he catches them. And he's like, did I not tell you bedtime is to be strictly preserved in this house? And she tries to tell them, well, the kids were upset by the storm, and I was trying to make them feel better about it, so they won't be scared anymore. And he's, you know, like, he doesn't want to hear it, and he's like, do you have a problem with following simple instructions? And she says, oh, only during thunderstorms. And she, like, just continues to sass him. And then, like, she even defends Liesel. Like, she even comes to Liesel's defense. Like, she honors her promise not to tell Liesel's father, and she makes up some story that the two of them were trying to get to know each other. And then, you know, she asked him to, and then, you know, the kids, of course, they run back to their rooms, so they won't get in any more trouble. And she asked Captain for play clothes for the kids, and he's like, if you're anything but repetitious. And she's like, well, what about the kid? But they're kids, you know. they're kids. I want them to have something to play in. And he's like, well, they're my kids. Okay, so you're gonna do things how I want them run. And he just leaves her there all in a huff and all mad and stuff. But then she remembers that the housekeeper said they were changing her curtains. So she decides to take the curtains and make clothes for the kids because she's good with making clothes and sewing and everything. So the rest of that time, while the captain's gone off to visit his girlfriend in Vienna, she makes the Legos and takes the kids out to play and explore Salzburg. And because it's the summer and it's their last chance. In a couple years, Liesel will be an adult and she won't get to play anymore. She won't get to have as much fun anymore because she'll have to be an adult. And of course, the captain does not respond well to that. He's like, "You didn't follow my rules," and he gets mad at her and everything. And she basically tells him off. She's like, "You know what? No, you do not know how to take care of your kids. Yes, you need discipline, but that you also need to give them love and affection, get to know them and reconnect with them and everything. Because like your two boys need someone to look up to, someone whose example they need to follow, and he's not doing a very good job at setting a good example. And his oldest, his daughter, he's not going to know her anymore. She's going to be an adult, and she's not going to want anything to do with him anymore. She's going to be a woman soon. And the younger ones just want love and affection from their father, and he doesn't want to hear it. And of course, she's being a little disrespectful, which I understand. He's still her employer, so I understand why he got like a little like, "You're fired," percent on her, and then I mean she was just so angry, and everything just exploded. It was slowly building, and it just exploded. But then he hears them singing. He hears them singing the song that she taught the kids, singing to the Baroness, and he just has this epiphany, this moment of clarity, and realizes that Maria was right this whole time, that he barely knew his kids. And he has been distancing himself from him for so long. And to his credit, he apologized to her reluctantly and awkwardly, but he admits it, that he was in the wrong here. But she also admits that she was outspoken and she shouldn't have spoken to him like that. But he's like, "You know what, you're right." And he decides he wants her to stay. So she's no longer fired. And actually, it's so sweet because he says, she says, "If I could be of any help." And he tells her, "You've done more than you know." And which is why I think, even though he was engaged to the Baroness, I think that's why he ended up falling in love with, part of what allowed him to fall in love with Maria. Because she did so much more for him. I mean, I do believe the Baroness opened his heart again to love, to the possibility of it. But Maria helped heal his frozen heart. She helped him reconnect with his kids and fall in love with his kids all over again. So she did so much more for him. And she was able to, she loved his kids, which were important to him. And, when you marry someone with kids, they're part of the package. They're a big part of it. Because once you have kids, I feel like they become the most important priority in your life. And when you get married, you have to take all of them. And that includes not just the personality, but the kids. Which was the Baroness's problem. She was a rich woman, a rich widower herself, and they didn't have any kids, so she wasn't used to the idea of being a mother. Which, of course, she was his girlfriend, and you knew that he was intending to marry her at some point. So, yeah, so she would become the mother to his 7 kids, and she just was not into that kind of thing. She wasn't mean about it. It just wasn't her. She wasn't used to it. But Maria knows how to be a mom, be a nurturing person to kids. And she's good with kids. So, I think that's another pointer for her. She was good with kids. She knew how to be a mother figure to them. So after all that, the rest of the movie is just so, it slowly gets to the point where the two of them realize their feelings and profess their love. At first, it's just really awkward. I feel like at first, and they're just slowly building up that romantic relationship. And one of my favorite moments, besides the declaration of love moment at the gazebo, is the scene when the kids have performed this little puppet show for everyone, which I have mixed feelings about those puppets. I'm kind of creeped out by them, but I think they're kind of cool at the same time. But, so she has, she asked Marie asked the kids, who would you like to perform next? And they offer, and they, say to her that their dad used to be really good at singing and, playing the guitar and stuff. And so he agrees to sing this folk song Edelweiss to them, and you can tell Maria is totally smitten by him. She is swooning at hearing him sing and play the guitar and stuff. And then the problem, the best part about that scene is, you can see how she's looking at him, and he looks at her twice in that scene. He looks at her first when he says, the lyric, happy to meet me. You look happy to meet me. He looks at Maria briefly, which, okay, that's understandable because she's, it kind of fits their relationship, generally speaking. And then he does look at the Baroness, his fiance, in the middle of the song. Then, by the end of the song, he's looking at Maria, and you can tell he's starting to fall in love with her in that moment. You can see in his eyes the way he looks at her. But then, during that whole time, while they're looking at each other, while she's looking at him while he's performing, the Baroness, you can see her suddenly looking at Maria, looking at her man, and it's like, why are you checking him out? I'm his fiance. You shouldn't be looking at him. And then, of course, Max, their friend, is watching the Baroness and seeing that the Baroness is looking at Maria, looking at the captain. It's subtle. It's just eye contact. It's nothing big, no dramatic movements. It's just them looking at each other, each person looking at the other person. It's just little things like the eye contact, and just the way you can see it in their eyes, the way they look at, the way the Captain and Maria look at each other. You can see that the love is growing and becoming something so beautiful. Unfortunately for the Baroness, which I like her, and unlike most of these stories, the Baroness, the other woman the Baroness isn't that bad. She's not a gold digger. She doesn't. When she realizes that she has to let him go and that he's in love with Maria, she walks away, but, and bows out gracefully. She doesn't get mad. She doesn't pitch a fit. She's not like, you can't do this to me. How dare you break up with me? Like, most of the time, the women in those stories, they usually, granted, sometime, like in It Takes Two, they have a similar kind of storyline. And she gets and it's during their wedding when Diane shows up with his daughter, Alyssa, and he's getting married to the other woman. Granted, she kind of sprang the wedding on him, just like in one of my other favorite movies, Au Pair, that has, again, another example of this kind of storyline, the widow father falling in love with the governess, where it is during the wedding, so you can kind of see a little bit why they got so mad, but then at the same time, it's like in Au Pair, the woman gets caught saying things about how the guy is all gullible and everything. So she said some kind of insulting things, but then, in It Takes Two, yeah, they're just about to get married. The problem, but it was kind of like, you can see why she got pretty pissed off about it. But then at the same time, it's like, well then, could you be a little more graceful about it instead of screaming like a brat and pitching a fit like a stupid child having a temper tantrum? But anyway, so like, after that moment, the Baroness is like, wanting to get the captain's attention back on here, is like, oh, you should throw a party for me so we can meet, I can meet all your friends and stuff here in Salzburg, and they can meet me. So he throws this big ball and everything. And then, like, there's this, the kids are watching in the gardens, and all the adults are doing this Ländler, this famous Austrian folk dance. And Kurt proceeds to ask Maria to show him how to do it. And, of course, the kid is like 11 years old, so he's much shorter than she is. So then the captain is watching them and decides, has this kind of smug look on his face and like, let me show you how it's done. And offers to, offers to dance with Maria. And this dance is so sexy and beautiful. I mean, it doesn't involve any groping or grinding or rubbing up against each other. It's sexy in a different way. And it's so cute and beautiful, and, like, you can see it in their eyes and in their gestures how much they're falling in love and everything. And it's so beautiful. And, of course, they get caught by the Baroness. The Baroness is watching them, and so are the kids. So their feelings are displayed out there for the whole world to see. So then, Maria is, after this awkward dance and everything, and Maria is invited to stay for the party. And reluctantly she agrees and goes to change because she wants to find something better that's more appropriate. And the Baroness, feeling all like jealous and territorial, decides to help Maria get ready and points out to Maria that she can tell that Maria's falling in love with the captain and that he thinks he's in love with her too, but eventually he'll get over it. So, like, Maria freaks out and panics and leaving a note, just leaves, doesn't say goodbye to the kids or anything, and just leaves a note and runs away, runs back to the Abbey. And while she's gone, the kids find out that the Baroness is going to be their mom. And the kids are all heartbroken don't want Baroness to be their mother, and they're heartbroken because Maria just left a note, she didn't say goodbye to them, and the captain is trying not to show his own feelings. He's trying to act like it doesn't bother him. And you can tell it bothers him, like, very subtly, but that he's trying to avoid it. Once again, trying to avoid his feelings. And the kids go to talk to Maria, but she is in seclusion, so she can't talk to them right now. And Mother Ab is deciding, because she decides, caring about Maria and realizes that Maria's unhappy, she decides to talk to Maria and learns from Maria that she's in love with the captain and that the captain might be in love with Maria. So she's like, you need to go back and find out. You can't hide out in the Abbey. You need to find out if there's any legitimacy, if the captain does love you. So Maria goes back, and plus I think she also goes back because she feels bad because she just didn't say goodbye to the kids, and she misses them. So she goes back, and sadly she finds out that the captain is engaged to another woman, to the Baroness. And when they see each other again, you can see there's a lot of subtext between the two of them. Like, things that they want to say to each other, but they won't say. And, it's just, Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer are so good at this and do such a great job at this. And you can see, they, in their performances, and, like, it's so subtle with the eye contact and all the physical gestures. It's not big. It's just subtle little things. They're so good at this, performing this. For someone who, because Christopher Plummer did not like doing this movie. He did not want to do this, and the only consolation was he liked the idea of working with Julie Andrews. But he was very, reluctant to do this movie, and he even calls it The Sound of Mucus, or at least at the time he did. Now, years later, he appreciated the movie for what it did for his career, and has apologized for his, negativity towards the movie. But I still don't think he likes the idea of talking about the movie, But and he probably it probably bugs him that this is one role that a lot of people know know him from. So then, towards the end of the movie, he has realized, now that she's back, that he is in love with her. And he can't go through this engagement with the Baroness. And what I like about like I said, the Baroness bows out gracefully. She doesn't get mad, she doesn't pitch a fit, she's not all, you can't do this to me, how dare you. She's actually is the one who's like, you know what, you're right. You're much too independent for me, I need someone who needs me. And she says that she realizes that he's in love with, that he's in love with Maria. She reveals to him that she gets it. She sees that he's in love with this other woman. And, she accepts it. She's okay with it. So the Baroness walks away. And one of my next favorite scenes between the two of them, when they're starting to fall in love, is the gazebo scene. I love this scene. First of all, the beginning is so perfectly awkward. The beginning of this scene, the gazebo scene. I mean, neither of them knows what to say to the other. The captain doesn't know how to go about this, and to finally tell Maria that he's not engaged to the Baroness because he's in love with Maria. And Maria is still heartbroken, thinking he's engaged, and doesn't know what to say to him, and wants to escape, was hoping to escape in the ground somewhere, and then he shows up. It's like, damn it, I'm trying to have some time to myself, and then you come, and it's like, why? Why won't you go away? And not that she says that, but that's what I'm guessing she's probably thinking at the time. I don't know. But that's the impression. That's at least what I would be thinking. And it's so awkward. Like, they're trying to think of what to say to each other, and she's trying to be polite and respond. And, he asks her why she left and everything, and why did she all of a sudden come back, and she tells him she was under obligation, she kind of just abandoned the kids, and she felt guilty for just leaving them like that, and she missed them. And he said, and he's all like, well, when you left, it was wrong, it just felt all wrong, nothing was the same, and, he's kind of asking her to stay, and she's like, well, you're engaged to someone else, I'm sure your fiancé will make a great mother for the children, and make a great wife and everything for you. And he finally tells her, well, actually, we called off the engagement. And she's still trying to be cool and not fall apart, probably not cry or anything, and not, to be able to move on and not let it bother her, not, show that she's heartbroken. And she's, tries to be polite and nice and everything. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's, of course, caught off guard. He's like, hey, why are you sorry? He's completely surprised, and then she realizes, wait a second, did you just tell me you're not engaged anymore? And it's like funny. Their reactions are so funny. He's like, you are sorry? And she's like, wait, you're not engaged? And he tells her, and this is when it starts to get romantic and passionate, because he's like, well, you can't marry someone when you're in love with someone else. And they share this look, this beautiful, intimate look between the two of them. And then he suddenly guides her towards them, and he kisses her. It's the first kiss, and it's so beautiful and so romantic and very subtle. Again, with the subtlety. And it's so tender and sweet and everything. And then, it's just, excuse me. Like, come on. And then, she's like, leaning into him and everything. It's such a romantic, tender, sweet moment. And he's so sweet with her and so gentle with her. I love this scene. It gives me tingles every time I watch it. You know, when I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep, after I've watched that movie several times, because I will continuously watch the movie over and over again because I'm so in love with this movie, I will replay that scene in my head while I'm just laying in bed because it's one of my all-time favorite scenes in the movie. It's so beautiful, and like he, she says to him, she says that the Reverend Mother Abbess always says that when one door closes, another window opens. Sorry, I got all tongue-tied there. And she says that the Mother Abbess always says that you have to look for your life. And he asked her, "Is that why you came back?" And she nods, and she says, when he asked her, "And have you found it, Maria?" First of all, I love how in that scene, right when he tells her, like, when she's like, in the beginning of this whole scene, when she's like, telling him that I'm sure the Baroness will make things good for you and fine for you and everything, he doesn't use the word Fraulein, because that's her title as a governess, Fraulein. It's like, I think it's like saying Miss or professor or something. It's like a title, how you address someone, an authority figure. And not that she's an authority figure to him, but but he actually calls her Maria, and that's the moment when he's finally ready. He finally has decided to tell her how he feels. I love that when he calls her Maria, that things have changed, things have taken on a different direction as he addresses her not as Fräulein Maria, but just Maria. It's just that moment of him saying her name only and not addressing her by the title as a governess. It's just, that's when it starts. That's when you can see it's about ready to happen, and he's about to profess his feelings and tell her that he's in love with her. So anyway, back to the present moment. And she says, and she says she's found her life. And that's when he says, "I love you," and it's just, and she's so, she can't believe this is happening. She's found love and everything. It's just so beautiful. And of course, it's a musical, so there's a song, something good. And then what's really cute is that the two of them, he says he fell in love with her the moment he started to fall in love with her is when she sat on the pine cone at the dinner table. And that she says that when she fell in love with him was when he blew that whistle. And then the rest of the time, the rest of the movie, after this beautiful scene, one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie that I will replay, the Nazis take over in the second act, and he's being recruited to join the army or the Navy, and he's like, "We gotta get out of here," because he doesn't want to leave his family. He's not gonna leave. He just got married. He's not gonna leave his new wife, and he's finally has formed this beautiful relationship once again with his kids, so he doesn't want to leave, and he also does not support their cause. He hates them. And she stays loyal and supportive the whole time, is willing to run away with him and the kids. And, they trek up, in the movie, they said it didn't happen like this in real life, because this is based on a real family, but they trek the mountains, and I think they eventually end up in New York. I mean, not in America. Eventually, I think in real life, that's what the family ends up in America. So, I mean, they go through so much, this couple, and it's just, I love this couple, I love the story, and I love their romance, and it's just so beautiful. So, that's my thoughts on this couple. So, are you familiar with The Sound of Music? Have you seen the movie? I definitely recommend it. I mean, granted, it's a very wholesome movie. It's a musical. It's not one of those musicals that continue where they sing the whole time, like Sound of Music, or like Les Mis, or Phantom of the Opera. There is dialogue and stuff, so don't worry. It's not a musical throughout. And Sophie, what are you doing? Sorry, both my dogs just came up in my room, and Sophie likes to go through my trash can because she's a bit of a scavenger. So anyway, it's a beautiful, wholesome movie. It's a family movie. I think you guys should see it. And so I hope you enjoyed my series this series that I'm starting, where I talk about my favorite couples. And if you like this first video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Alright, thank you. Okay, let's see.